Dallas Cowboys. So well, that wasn't working too well.
Good evening and welcome to the October 22nd, 2025 Willits City Council. We are going to start with Pledge of Allegiance with River Trails Manager, Special District Manager, one of 79 in the state, leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country.
Place your hand over your heart and follow me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And
Councilmember Burton.
here.
Gonzalez. Stransky.
Yes.
Alanis.
Here.
Allman.
Here. The Willits City Council did have a special meeting at 5:30 tonight, and on both of the items, direction was given to staff. Councilman Jerry Gonzalez did join via Zoom, but he's not, and he's out of town, and he's not at tonight's meeting, as you can see.
I will be right with my computer is saying no.
I can do it.
You can do
Wouldn't
it.
mind, that would be great.
Okay. The City Council welcomes input from the audience. If there's a matter of business on the agenda that you're interested in, you may address the council when this matter is considered. If you wish to speak on a matter that is not on the agenda, you may do so at this time. In order for everyone to be heard, please limit your comments to 3 minutes per person. The Brown Act regulations do not allow action to be taken on audience comments of which the subject is not listed on the agenda. But also, if you're in a hurry and there's an item on the agenda that you would like to talk on, but you can't stick around, by all means, you're welcome to speak to the council now. So is there anybody who would like to speak on any item that's not on the agenda?
Hello, my name is Daniel Curtis, and I live at 1145 Magnolia Street. And I'd like to know what it would take to get my neighbor at 1159 Magnolia declared a public nuisance or neighborhood nuisance. I've been dealing with this guy for the last 10 years. Trash, rats, cars, cutting cars up at night, dealing drugs, being raided by the task force. I've had enough. I'd just like to know what I got to do because the owner of the property won't do anything about it. I mean, they clean it up, but it happens again within 2 months, 3 months. It's ongoing. So what's it going to take to get this problem solved?
Pretty frustrating.
Okay, you're going to know that I'm going to ask you to talk to the police chief later, but I will say
That's
that...
fine. I've talked to Jerry when he was police chief. I've talked to the other interim police chief. Sorry to interrupt you, but I've been there. So I'll be happy to talk to him too.
So I know that our district attorney also gets involved in helping to get certain residences or locations declared nuisance.
Right.
I've seen it work in other communities, so I'd encourage you to make an appointment with the chief and talk to him.
Okay.
And I would love to talk to you about it later on.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak on any item which is not on the agenda? Is there anybody who would like to speak about any item which is on the agenda but you can't stick around? Hearing none, the public discussion is closed, public communication is closed, and we're not going to talk about enactment of ordinances because there are none. However, I'm expecting at our next meeting in November to start the public written ordinance discussion on the food truck issue. So if there's anybody who, and I think almost everybody in this room here, has an interest in a food truck, we're looking forward to it being on the November 12th schedule for the first reading and the discussion of it. So please bring your ideas and so forth. Consent calendar. We have 2 items on the consent calendar that we'll take action on with a single motion and roll call vote. Any council member may request the removal of an item from the consent calendar for separate discussion and subsequent action. We have the minutes from the October 8th special meeting and the minutes from the October 8th regular meeting. With the exception of my name misspelled on the regular meeting, I don't have any comments on the minutes.
Mayor, I had a number of different typographical errors that I made the city clerk aware, and she's going to correct that. It's essentially just, just typographical errors. Misspelled names, my honest name,
Okay.
mislabeled people. No changes to the
Changes to the
minutes
facts,
whatsoever.
okay? Okay, anything, Bruce?
I just have, they misspelled my name. They spelled it K-A-N-N-E.
So the city clerk got notified.
Under good and welfare, you listed the previous city
I'm
council.
changing your name.
Okay.
Oh,
Just not your personality.
anything? Okay, so is there any public expression on the consent calendar? Hearing none, we'll move on. Is there a motion?
I'll move for a second.
Okay, so
Whatever you
move.
need.
Most first and seconded.
Okay. Now needs, okay,
Councilmember Burton.
Aye.
Stransky.
Yes.
Alanis.
Yes.
Almond.
yes. All right, moving on to monthly activity reports. These don't require action by the city. I would imagine Councilman Burton
Yes.
is going to have something to say.
I just have a couple on the accounts payable. We were going to get an update on the number of credit cards that were in circulation. Do you have that number?
10. So there are 10 credit cards to city employees.
Okay. And then just a couple under wastewater to SJE Rhombus for $17,883.
What page is that? Yeah, what page is that?
I'm sorry, usually I copy these things.
What's the name of the firm, the vendor?
SJE Rhombus, it's RHOMBUS.
Wow, that does not ring a bell unless Scott's signed off on that one.
It was charged to water, wastewater.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's not ringing a bell. Scott Herman may have signed off on that one for wastewater, but Daniel, do you?
I'm not familiar with it.
Well, we have 3 checks in a row to the same company.
Is it 3 checks or is it 1 check, same check number? Because if it's split out the months.
Oh, it is 1 check number, but a total of $32,000 approximately dollars.
What number is it, Tom?
Where I'm on page 11 of the
Of the warrants?
and it's near the third from the top.
It says contract other.
Yeah, $32,450.96, check total.
That's GHD?
What?
SJE Rhombus.
GHD Incorporated.
No, that's not the one.
I'm sorry.
That's GHD.
On page 12.
Page 12, yes. It's third from the bottom, 17,000.
SJE Rhombus.
Yes.
I see it.
SJE stroke office.
Offhand, I do not know what that is, but I can take a look at it, get that information to you.
Okay.
Controls, their control, and I don't recall specifically what it was.
Usually it has, usually has a couple signatures associated with it in order to be able to have it run through. So I'll take a look at that. I don't know what it is though offhand. It doesn't ring a bell or anything that passed my desk.
Let's make sure it's coded right.
Yeah.
Then a little further down was one to Tall Tree Engineering, charged to the general fund for $2,405.
That's for general services, for her services as a on-call engineer.
Oh, you know what, Artie? I think that was for the headworks user problems that we had. Is that the one possibly for when the water leaks through the roof and doused the headworks PLC? I think that's for,
Is that the SJE Rhombus is?
yeah,
Okay.
Primex.
I can check with Scott Herman, the superintendent, or utility superintendent tomorrow.
It was charged to the general fund is what made me
Oh,
interested.
you're talking about SHN, I mean,
Tall Tree was the engineering services. It gets charged to the general fund.
Yeah, I just want to know what engineering services they provided.
it's whatever we needed for hers. It was various projects she's,
Well, maybe you can get that for me.
yeah, I mean, we have an invoice that shows the breakdown of it, yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, but to whoever, I see a huge check that went to Boudelier for the Rails and Trails. Where are we on reimbursements?
So we received a reimbursement.
Is
So
that
we
the
received a reimbursement for 280.
It's prime mix.
So about $200,000 for reimbursement. I think it's like $240,000 for
Well, we have a $258,000 check, so.
Yeah, and we're, sorry, it's been billed, and I was told that it actually has made it to the payment center, and a check is to be cut soon.
Okay, all right. What else, Bruce?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, does anybody else on the council have questions about accounts payable, building permits, or business activity?
I do have a question on building permits.
Okay.
You give the current month and the year-to-date this year and last year. At some point, I'd like to have a full year summary, last couple of years, what the total valuation of permits were for the fiscal year. You know, we're quarter of the way through the year here, and the best I can tell, the total valuation of permits is like 350, 370 or something like that. I just want to get a feeling what our yearly valuation, you know, of completed projects is kind of running in the city.
Yes, understand. So it'll go back at least a couple fiscal years.
A couple fiscal years for the total for the year. Thank you.
Okay, is there any public comment on the monthly activity reports? Hearing none, public comments closed. Okay, going on, we have no reports on the commission, agencies, and authorities. So we're going to the city manager report.
I really don't have anything tonight other than reporting on the progress of the wildlife undercrossing on Bridgewood. Everybody's noticed the new construction and the 8-foot fence that's going in. Wish it would go a little faster. It seems to be like really slow, and they're going through some rough terrain. But along those lines, that's one of the highest, vehicle, deer collision areas in this vicinity. And you'll see the signs. Everybody's seen the signs, the Caltrans signs that say rutting season is happening. For those that don't know, as a public service announcement, that's when the breeding season for deer happens. It happens once a year. And right now, if you see a doe cross the road in front of you, you better slow down because there's usually a buck right behind her. That's why there's a lot of deer hit on the road. I will point out, and I'm going to push to have a sign put in right by Bud Garman's, because just north of town, where it takes that sharp turn, is just a high deer mortality area. So I'm also going to put something out on Facebook that highlights those areas, like the northern interchange. Probably a dozen animals killed every year there. They're not there right now. I think they've all been, over the past few years, the numbers have been depleted so much that they're just really thinned out there. But everybody be aware, time change is another high mortality time, and full moons. So there was a study done pretty recently that talks about the billions of dollars that it costs California every year for vehicle-animal collisions. So you'll see more and more. Everybody needs to support the higher fence along the highways, because fence goes in anyways, might as well make it 8 feet and give the animals a place to get across. So, that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Any public comment on the city manager report?
Tamara Alanese, 145 Tuttle. I would like to say thank you to Rod Wilburn for coming in and being the interim city manager when we really needed you. You didn't need to do it. You have a good job. You have a wonderful company that does a lot of good in the community. You've done a great job. You're a good man. And I want to thank you, Rod, for stepping up when we needed you.
Any other public comment? Hearing none, public comment is closed. We're moving on to department recommendations, starting with the Walter with the proposed change order for the new Sports Park Solar Interconnection Site System upgrades for the amount of $125,000 to
Syserco.
Yes, Energy Solutions for the installation of owner-provided electrical infrastructure in the amount not to exceed $125,000. Walter.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, what this is a change order. It's one of the few we've had. We're not expecting many more, but what this is for, we paid $240,000 out to PG&E to put in a new pole. They're going to put in a transformer and provide electrical services for the new solar field we're putting there. This is part of the owner. This is part of our infrastructure. We have to actually bore underneath the road and put in conduit, and this is part of our responsibility for this. PG&E will pull the wires through the conduit, but we have to put in the pad for the transformer and all the infrastructure. So this is critical for the project to proceed. Like I said, PG&E's already put in the new pole on the side there near the rodeo grounds, and they're just waiting for this so they can put in the transformer.
Was there a reason this wasn't in the original contract with these guys? I mean, it's not an unknown.
No, this is the problem. We signed Syserco's contract, and yes, I would have expected it should have been included in there. And I've talked to Fort Bragg and their city manager. They're doing the same project, basically a little bit bigger in scope, and using Syserco also, and they've had the same issue. They thought that should have been in there. Their contract excludes that. Owner-owned infrastructure is our responsibility, unfortunately. Yes, I would have liked to have seen it in there, but their contract did not include that. And we've gone through, there's nothing else like that. All the infrastructure, basically everything else is accounted for. This was something that, yes, I believe it should have been in there originally, but it's not.
Do you have any idea why not?
It was, you know what, I wasn't the project manager at the time. I've taken it over from Brian Bender. Originally, that was the way they formed their contracts. They did that with Fort Bragg and every other agency I've talked to. They exclude, that's one of their exclusions.
So did we put that out to competitive bid and they came in with the best price
We
to do this job?
we did an informal bid. They came in. Some of the bids were $250,000, and Davey Bowles and I sort of tore that apart and held up the project for a little bit and everything because we didn't feel that was a competitive price, and they got someone else to do it for $125,000, which is much more competitive. Yeah, and it's worth it for the boring. It's a significant amount of work to go under the road on East Commercial there and get all the conduit in that's necessary from the pole to the transformer pad.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the kind of project it is.
Yeah.
But is there a reason we don't have 3 bids here that?
No, it was a timing issue. They got several bids, but like I said, the initial ones.
But this is our responsibility. It is our project. It's not their project.
It's our project. It's under their project management. We're overseeing it for the city. They're overseeing it for the project. That is something that they're taking it over. It's our responsibility, but they're going to oversee it. Yes.
Okay. This is a change order to their contract.
Correct.
This is not a. This is
It's
not
getting paid
additional,
through them.
It's not. Right. So this
Yes.
is their contract. This is not a city expense separate from the contract.
But it doesn't make any sense. If their contract didn't include this as part of their services they can provide, how can they dictate to us who does that work on stuff that we're going to own? It's going to be
They're not dictating. Well, we had control over it that we did not accept their first bids. And we had them go back and get other people to bid on this, yes.
Did we have WIT bid it?
No, they weren't available. We asked them about that and they were not available.
I'd suggest you go back and ask them again.
No, well, we're in a time crunch right now where,
They're probably, they're the only one of the few guys that that drill underground.
no,
They're probably going to do it anyway.
no, they have someone else from, I believe, Santa Rosa who's doing it and everything, yeah. And originally, it wasn't even supposed to be underground boring, but we found utilities and drains that are there that made it harder. We were going to actually trench across the road, and now it has to be bored and stuff because of some of the drainage through there. And there's a culvert and everything that no one knew about. So it's involved. The 125 is a very competitive price and everything compared to what it was. Yeah.
Well, we don't know.
Yes, we do, because we've analyzed it and looked at the work that's involved and know what it's going to take to get that done. Yes.
We as a council don't know because we haven't seen.
Right.
We haven't seen any other bids for the work.
Right. We can give you the initial price that we got from Syserco when they came out and everything. We met with the contractor and everything. Yeah, we can give you that initial paperwork and show you that. Yes. But it's under their contract and everything. It's getting paid through them, but it's part of our infrastructure. And it was an exclusion in their contract, unfortunately.
It just doesn't, I'm just not able to quite.
We weren't happy with the contract either.
Let me just say this, in the agenda summary report, I'll read a paragraph. After the energy service agreement with SES was approved and executed, then City Manager Bender gained authorization to review and execute contract change orders in the value of up to 5%, which would be $235,200 of the total energy service agreement, the $4,704,000. So the original agreement gave the city manager the authorization for change orders up to 5%, and this is about 2.5%.
Correct.
So I understand what you're saying.
But it's not a change order because it wasn't it was excluded in the original contract. It was.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah. If it was a change order, it makes more sense, but this is something that was excluded in their original bid, and now they're saying they get the exclusive right to manage it.
When we do a bid like this, don't we pay an engineer to tell us what it's going to cost and what it's going to need?
We certainly have an estimate. That's absolutely right.
So that's who.
Wasn't there when that was done, but it would be certainly this.
Yeah.
So the engineering, if you look, there's an attachment there that was submitted by PG&E that lays it all out. PG&E did the engineering on it, and that's what it was based off of. PG&E did the engineering to lay out what was needed, and so basically it was the plan we got from PG&E. We paid for the services from PG&E. We paid that $240,000 to put in the pole, and they'll provide the transformer and the service going to the project.
So says they can do it under 125,000.
What was that?
Syserco is saying they can do what PG&E is asking for.
Yes.
For less than 125,000.
Yeah, up to 125,000. It's going to cost that, yes. And about 40% of that is going to be rebated back to us as part of the contract.
Okay.
Yeah, so 40% of the 125 will come back to us.
Only in reduced rates, though.
No.
No, that was part of the tax rebate.
It's part of your 1.8 million you're supposed to get back. It's not.
Yeah.
But I'm with,
If Trump thinks.
I'm with my fellow councilman Burton. It feels like we're just being strong arms, like we didn't have a choice to begin with, and they now doing a change order, which really isn't a change order. They're the ones left out of the contract. And remind me, because I wasn't on the council in December, I was attending meetings regularly.
Yeah.
There was discussion at that time that there may have been some false implications, that we maybe had a lawsuit against Syserco because they were telling us information that didn't seem to add up, and they told us we didn't have to do this. Could you remind us?
What it was is that there were things that our staff felt should have been included in the contract and were not. and everything. I don't know, Jim, do you have a copy of the contract? Can you pull it up or not, Syserco's?
Yeah, because I remember that just in the meeting, and people were, the suggestion was we may even have a lawsuit against them.
I have it somewhere.
Yeah, and we talked about this, that in the end, before we finalize this contract, there's questions about that. I felt, and so did Davey Bowles, that when we looked at this, that the $240,000 we thought should have, with PG&E, should have been included in it, and this. But like I said, when we went out to Fort Bragg, who's doing a similar project, and other agencies who were working with Syserco, they've all signed their contract, and they're in the same boat. They've had the same issues with this.
Okay, didn't we discuss in December that Fort Bragg was also maybe looking into a?
Yeah, they're possibly thinking about it, yeah, and they're having to move ahead too because of the time frames with the NEM 2 and everything else and stuff.
That's why it makes it feel like we don't have a
Yeah,
choice.
we're not. I'm not happy. I wish going forward we would not sign other companies and vendors' contracts without making sure it's fair to the city.
Sure, but that
Yeah.
decision's been made, it's moved at this point.
Exactly.
My
Yes.
recollection of it, when this $240,000 supplies cost was first presented by Syserco, that staff reviewed it. We did not agree with that, but we were under a real time crunch to move forward.
Exactly.
So I believe Brian sent a letter or an email saying that this matter was being paid under protest, and we're reserving our rights to address it later on. Okay.
And we're going to look at the end of the project as we get done and seeing if there is any legal recourse at all. And like I said, we're talking closely with Fort Bragg and watching. They're a little bit ahead of the process where we are right now and seeing where they're going with it. Their project is about 3 times the value of ours, but very similar.
But given that our reimbursement is tied to completion
Yes.
on their schedule, that we need to do that first.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And any other
And then-
possible thing that will happen separately later.
Exactly. But we're keeping that on our plate to look at that if we have any recourse, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
This money's not going to come out of our general fund, it's going to come out of wastewater enterprise fund?
Correct.
With that in mind, like we just passed a budget. I don't remember any discussion about increasing using, or, we're going to be using our enterprise fund, which is great, but I mean, why could we not have done that before we just passed the budget last month? Did we not know that was going to come out of the enterprise fund?
We didn't know the amount. We were going back and forth about it. Their initial price was $250,000, and we pushed on getting that lowered because we felt that was an unfair price. Yes.
Okay, so so this is March of 26th, that was after the last council.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it was after the last meeting, yes.
All right, any more council questions? Public comment. Who would like to comment on this? Once, going twice, public comments closed. All right, to the council. I have a question. Is it still on schedule to be finished in the spring?
Yes, correct. As long as we keep everything's ordered up, weather permitting, I believe they're going to start. All the carports were ordered up. A lot of the materials are there. PG&E has the transformer. As soon as we get this approved, they're going to go ahead within the next week and start excavating and getting that ready, doing the bore pits. And yes, we're still on schedule.
So for the public, it's my understanding that this new solar array is going to be over the parking area of, in front of the
Soccer fields.
Soccer fields, baseball fields. And it's going to be the $4 million project, $4.9 million project is ultimately going to give the city lower rates, and the business plan, with the last city council, the business plan pinned out, and they approved this to where, that's why we're moving forward. Am I correct in what I said?
Correct.
All right.
Yes.
In year 12.
Year 12, yes. But I still say, why do we put solar arrays next to where balls are hit with bats towards the parking lot? But I'm just predicting something.
They're pretty tough. They will actually withstand that kind of impact.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, to the council.
I'm not going to make the motion.
I'll do it. I so move.
So moved as presented?
Yes.
Okay. There a second? I'll second. So we have motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Councilmember Burton?
The way I look at it, there's one free vote here, and I'm going to take it. No.
Stransky?
Yes.
Alanis?
I'm going to vote yes.
Almond?
Yes. All right. Walter,
Yes.
honestly,
Yeah.
and this is not your fault, but you said something that really concerned me in that, where you said there could be more change orders.
No, I said we don't expect more change orders. I'm sorry. That's
Okay, we
not-
don't expect any more change orders.
No, we do not. The infrastructure, everything else is pretty straightforward. These were the gray areas that were in the contract that were exclusions that, personally, yes, I wish those were not there. I don't believe those should have been excluded from the original contract. But everything else going forward is, I think, pretty well buttoned down, and I just don't expect any change orders, no.
I wouldn't make that.
I don't expect,
Don't make
yeah.
that commitment.
Okay.
Point.
I get it.
That's why there's 5% contingency approved, because there's always things that you don't foresee.
I get it.
Yeah.
Especially when you start going underground. And so and I wasn't there, but my presumption is that it was specifically excluded because having dealt with PG&E many times, it's very, very difficult to get a cost out of PG&E until you have a project in front of them. So if I were the contractor, I wouldn't commit to a price in a contract if I didn't have a number certain from PG&E. So.
Yeah, it took several months to nail PG&E down on that $240,000 cost. So, yes.
Yeah, and if it's, sorry, but from a pure contract standpoint, if it's specifically excluded, then it's excluded. So it's not I don't think it's a legal matter if it's a change order as part of the contract.
But change orders, and I know that this has been a point of contention, can I ask, without us putting this on the agenda and making it formal, that if there are change orders, even for a smaller amount, that the council's still aware of it?
Yes, we can do that. Sure, certainly.
Thank you.
That's why we
Yeah.
brought this.
Yeah, I know.
It could have easily signed off on this and said it was already approved by council, 5%, within
I get it.
5%.
We appreciate it.
It was for transparency, yes. But if anything does change, certainly, yeah, I can come to council and everything, or email and give everyone a heads up if there's any changes or problems.
Is this 125,000 counting against that 235,000 that's part of that 5%? Or is it 5% for each change order?
Total 5%.
Total.
So down to 2.5, give or take.
All right, any more discussion on that? Moving on to item 9B as in boy, receive presentation, discuss and provide staff direction related to the city manager recruitment process. Presenting staff members Deborah Muchmore, Human Resource Advisor. Deborah.
Mayor, council members. My name is Deborah Muchmore, and I have a small and mighty consulting firm in Rohnert Park called Muchmore & Consulting, and we do human resources, organizational development, and fiscal services to public entities. And so tonight I'm before you because on this agenda, later in the agenda, the city is looking at an item that would put a retired annuitant into employment with the city and in a position that's vacant. And when that happens, there has to be an open recruitment going on for that position that's active. And so what this item is to present what a recruitment for the vacant position of city manager would look like generally. And just for transparency with the public, I know that there may be some people that have already expressed interest and that the city may have applications from those, so I want to recognize that and acknowledge it. But this is to allow the council to discuss city manager recruitment and provide direction to staff. With that, Mayor, with your permission, I'd like to start the presentation.
Okay.
So let's see if I can do this backwards. Okay, it's fast. It's touching. Okay. So commonly, an executive search process, no matter what executive it is, starts with stakeholder and staff engagement meetings. And that is tonight, public comment, collecting information. It's talking to council members. It's talking to the current interim city manager key people in the city and the organization to find out what are the competencies of the right person for this office, for Willits, for the city. And then taking all of that information, it's developing a profile and materials and creating an outreach and marketing program that can include not only advertising, but direct communication with to get passively people who aren't necessarily looking, to really focus. I know local is important. That's one of the things that I've heard, and to be able to reach out into different areas to find people who have similar experience, similar values, and similar culture to what this city is and who they are. And then it's whoever does that recruitment does a preliminary candidate screening against all of those features and factors and creates a final list that includes every candidate that's applied, but it sorts them into the ones that are most credible for that position versus those that every time we go out for something like this, you might get someone who would love to be in the job, but they have no idea what it is. And so we don't always bring those forward for interview. Then there are selection processes. They can be, there can be exams in a selection process. There can be scenarios. There can be focus panels. There can be advisory panels. There are interviews with counsel always. And so that happens. And then there's reference and background. So we'll go through these slides now that you've had that opening pretty quickly. So phase one, this is when we determine the methods to collect information, get key information about the city, as I said, define people, responsibilities, customers, and develop the profile. Phase two, whoops, I'm backwards. This is because I'm left-handed and I'm using my right hand. So using the information from phase one, we develop phase two, which is all the materials, and begin to discuss the selection processes. Then this slide here talks about some of the characteristics or competencies that many city managers need to perform their role. And so that budget, fiscal, being able to collaborate, being a great communicator, being a good listener, make informed decisions, being inclusive and accepting, all of those types of things. And then the next slide. Don't like me. There we go. The next slide is creating the actual brochures and direct marketing campaigns, email campaigns. The recruitment's open. We're taking applications. In phase four, I'm technically challenged, obviously. We sort the candidates. This is when we sort them, put them into a binder so that they're in order of, the ones that rise to the top versus the ones that don't. And identify the highest and best fit candidates for what Willits has told that recruiter that they're looking for. And then in phase five, there's an inclusive selection process, and this takes a lot of collaboration with staff, with council. A lot of logistics are involved in getting candidates where they need to be at the right time without seeing each other, because it's a confidential process. Because if you're someone who wants to be a city manager and you're working in another city, you don't want your community to know that you've applied and that you've accepted the position. So we try to keep this as confidential as possible. And then in phase six, okay, nope, wrong way. Once the decision is made on who the council would like to offer this position to, a conditional offer letter is sent. There's a lot of reference checking, background checking, whatever the processes are to clearly vet the person before the actual appointment can be made and the contract can be made. That process can take, I think I have a slide for this. Okay, so then you do a contract and everything, but the total process takes you want to say 3 to 4 months, but by the time you do background selection and they give notice, it takes sometimes 6 to 7 months. And that's just if you get a great pool, you find the right person the first time you go through it. It can take longer. And the council, just because they got a group of candidates in front of them and all the other focus and advisory and everything, they don't have to choose one from that pool if they're not satisfied that that's the right candidate. So sometimes it can extend a little bit longer. And that's it.
Thank you. And to the public, I do want to say that, and to the employees, I want to say that when we as a council are going to put together the package of payment to whoever is going to do this, I don't want there to be any surprises. I do not predict it to be as high as what the last city manager was making. I think it's very fair that with the resource problem that we have and the cash flow problem, if somebody is watching this and says, well, that seems like a good job with great money, I'm going to tell you that it would be a good job and it'll be good money, but it's not going to be what was paid to the last person who filled up position, with my humble opinion. So, to the council, questions for Ms. Muchmore?
You know, I'm going to feel like it's time to bring up a little topic that's always been kind of a pet one of mine in this issue, in that having watched and worked with, I don't know, probably a half a dozen city managers over my career here, and just the format of local government, that what we're in, of the city manager form of government for small towns, I am beginning to question whether that's a viable format of local management. And to me, it may be worthwhile to look back 50 years at how local government functioned with a strong mayor, and that the mayor is then interviewed by the electorate and selected by the community. He must live in the community to be the city manager, to be mayor, and that the mayor has one vote on the city, but he is the manager of the city simultaneously.
He or she.
He or she, excuse me, absolutely. I'll make that mistake often, but anyway, I think it bears introducing, if people haven't thought about it, that you could put that job on up for the public to apply for, put it at, on a, you have to do some homework on the compensation wage level for it, but it would be a 4-year job, and then you would run again. You would get graded by the community for your work. And to me, it certainly doesn't address the issue of some of the professional aspects of what you would be looking at in terms of a degree in public policy or public, management, or things that might cause a traditional candidate to rise to the top. But, we used to elect judges that way, and taking a very risky step, I would say we still elect sheriffs that way.
I think so.
Yes.
That, it isn't, there's no prerequisite for the job other than to get the votes from the community to do it. And I think it's a way to make, it may be a way, I'm interested in having the discussion, so I'm bringing it up. We're at that point. I've thought about it in terms of, it's normally done in charter cities. I see it more, at least in the reading that I've done, it's done in charter cities. We're a general law city, but there are 121 charter cities in the state of California. In other cities that you have a strong mayor that is, has a lot of management authority. So, and it was certainly the way here up through Leo Hewlett, if God rest his soul, was done here for a long time. And, if we're going to try and redefine the structure of the city, some of the functions of how we run a small city, I think it's time that we have kind of a serious discussion about, is the city manager form of what we want to stick with? Or do we, I think I understand some of the risks. I need to learn more of them to go the other way. But I guess I'd turn around and ask you then what your experience on that side of the equation is, and what your
For the technical aspects, I'm going to defer to your city attorney, but there are general law cities, as you said here earlier. Fairfax in Marin County was a mayor council form of government for a while, and then they changed their ordinance, voted on it, stuff like that. They became a council city manager form of government. There can be some complications there if the ordinance doesn't cleanly get moved all the way over from one side or the other, but you can always talk among each other and have a council vote and work with your attorney to do something like that. Richmond is a mayor council city that functions well. I believe they're charter. Do you know if they're charter? I can't remember.
They are.
They are. Yeah, I thought they were. I thought I had seen them on there, but
Who's that?
Richmond.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big city to have a mayor. And you do find that people with the people who strive for that do begin to understand the role, and they do have some of the same competencies because they have to exercise them. They're the ones that the city's going to rely on. So, but it's Councilmember Burton, that's one option the council has.
Okay.
But as for now, we are looking for a
City manager.
City manager.
Yeah.
So, any other comments from the council? All right, to the public. Public comment. Nikki, come on up.
Hi, my name is Nikki Caldwell. I actually got a couple things. So when I hear that it's probably not good to keep it in the city, I disagree with that. I think keeping somebody local is probably one of the best moves if it is a good fit. Sorry to be rude, but at least they care. It seems like outsiders, sadly, like the last one, didn't care, didn't participate in any events, didn't go shopping locally. He didn't participate in anything until he got forced to, because people started talking about him not doing anything in the city. Also, the council and the city knew since March that there is an open position. We just wasted 7 months. Not that I'm saying I don't like Rod. Rod is awesome. But we would have had 7 months of already looking into a new position. Why wouldn't we get all people's application and interview them all? Just because somebody makes a fine line, I believe, if somebody applies, you guys should be able to see that, and I think you guys should be able to see it. The other problem I have is, if I see this correct, we again outsourced something that I believe we could done in-house. We do have an HR person. She does hire the people working for the city. We just talked about that the city doesn't look good, so I have a hard time, nothing personally, but I have a hard time understanding why we outsource something that we can do in-house. If we cannot do it in-house, or our HR person, which I don't believe so, is not capable of doing it, then maybe you will need to look for a different HR person, which again, this is not what I'm applying. And when she said that then we're going to put the job into the open, if I remember right, the job is already semi out in the open for applications, because I personally know at least of 2 people who applied here. It seems like we wasted 7 months. And it's frustrating. Again, I think Rod is really good for the city, but I think in the time he was here, we could have moved forward with the HR we had without spending more money on outsourcing. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like public comment? Going once, going twice. Okay, public comment is closed. Okay, to the council. And this is this was a no action. This was a receive information only, so I don't need a motion. So.
Do you want me? Mayor, with your permission,
Sure.
I did want to redirect because apparently I was not clear with my presentation in the fact that this is just an example of what a search would be. The City Council has not outsourced anything, and I just wanted to make that clear. In addition to that, in order to take the next action, the staff needs direction to, even though they have internally already begun to search with internal staff, they need formal direction to have an active recruitment to keep a retired annuitant safe from losing their retirement. And we don't want any retired annuitant that's worked in public service to lose their retirement if we can help it.
Yeah, but I believe the direction is to direct staff to put together a full recruitment package for city manager.
I get it, and we're gonna get to that point. I'm just asking right now. This is not an action item,
No.
right? Okay.
No.
So yes, certainly we would like for, and I can speak for the council or as mayor, that we would like to have a recruitment package put together and return it to the council for an agendized public discussion.
Perfect.
Right? Yes. All right. So, moving on to item 9 is in C. Don't go anywhere because you're right there. Go 9C is in Charles. Approve the employment agreement with Robert Richardson to perform specialized and temporary services interim city manager, and Deborah Muchmore is the presenter on this one. And let me just say publicly that our current interim city manager, Rod Wilburn, is interim city manager until November 12th. Wednesday, November 12th, which I believe is the next council meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And so this item is for the council to consider a candidate that you've interviewed that came to you, not through me, that you have felt is a qualified candidate, been a city manager before, is now retired, does interim appointments, and to take on the role of interim city manager while you and until you find a permanent city manager, or until they've worked 960 hours, or until about 6 months have passed. As a retired annuitant, they cannot take any benefits. They have to work within the salary schedule that the city manager is posted on the website. They can't have collected unemployment in the last year. They can ask for reimbursement if they paid something on behalf of the city. So there are a lot of rules that they have to follow. But in the end, it costs less than if we had an employee in place while we're trying to find the right employee, because they're not going to get any benefits, any sick leave, anything like that. Not even California paid sick leave.
So not per diem?
No, this is no per diem.
Okay.
It's an hourly appointment.
Okay.
So what we're asking is that you, to appoint the Robert Richardson to interim city manager and approve the employment agreement with him.
And the employment agreement was prepared by Michael Colantuno, Grass Valley, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
He was the city attorney where Mr. Richardson formerly worked, and Mr. Richardson specifically wanted Mr. Colantuno's engagement to protect his retirement.
Rod, how did you find Mr. Richardson? I mean, I know that, but I think people are going to be curious.
My discussions with Mr. Richardson have been very good. He's very knowledgeable. Obviously, he's been a city manager for a lot of years. And he comes with the experience of having dealt with situations where other agencies have had similar financial issues. So he brings that experience. He is also just, I said, normal, easy to talk to, and a good, seemingly a good person. So I think that level of experience and the amount of time he can put towards helping resolve the budget issues is what the city needs right now. And he can definitely, he'll know things that he'll know how to do things that I have no experience in, so.
And how did he come to the attention of the city?
He's worked with Patrick Clark, our labor negotiations consultant, and he's also worked with Andy Heath, who's helped work on the budget, so they have a history. I believe Andy worked in Grass Valley with him, so that's how we
kind of a referral
from them that came about very recently.
We worked with
Right.
determining our financial condition.
Right, and having Deborah help with this agenda summary, the contract and the resolution was very important because of her experience, especially with him being an annuitant and all of the requirements from PERS to protect Bob's retirement. So it was critical.
And we had, what was the, I worked with him, I can't remember his name. And we talked to him before we hired you, Bob Peralt, right. He was here under the exact same conditions, a retired city manager who still had some gas in the tank.
He was a really good manager.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, and so Bob Richardson will be moving to Willits if possible, Ukiah. He'll be moving over here for the 6 months, or however long he's here until a permanent city manager is found.
So if anyone knows of a rental or a house for rent, he is taking referrals.
Brook Trails has some spots.
Okay.
Sorry for the pitch.
Brook Trails is, that's north of here.
Where is
Sorry
that
for the pitch,
place?
Mayor.
All right, to the council, any questions regarding this? All right, to the public. Right, yeah.
No, I think that the community needs to know that all of us have visited with Mr. Richardson.
Not as a group.
Not as a group, but he came by and I visited with him for an hour or two. I think he has the skills and, the time. I think we need a full-time person here. We hired Rod as a part-time guy. And so I didn't expect him to be here, but I think we do need, the job warrants full-time attention here. And the background that I've done on him seems like, he had city manager positions for long periods of time, both in Auburn and in Grass Valley, and a town in Southern California who, I never remember names of towns in Southern California. But I think he has the skill set that we need right now. And I appreciate the fact that Rod recognizes that he has a little different set of skills that aren't quite to the issue that we're dealing with, and he needs to get back to work. He took this on as a part-time assignment, and he's got plenty of responsibilities. Well, that's how I came to my decision.
Anything?
No, nothing.
I just want to reiterate what one of our citizens said earlier, that we really are excited that you were able to help us and step in. And I think it speaks a lot to you about your character and professionalism to see an individual like Bob Richardson and realize that what's best for the city is for you to step aside and for to move on with your life and to have other people come in and help the city. And we really appreciate that. I mean, it wasn't something that we would expect, but I'm glad that you were able to perform that. And I know you're not going away, so it's not really goodbye. You're going to be, you'll still be available at some level. But just before we get to all the formalities, I just want to say thank you for your service. And very, very, very responsible. Thank you for putting the city first.
Thank you. To the public, who would like to comment? Nikki, by all means.
Hi, my name is Nikki Caldwell. Just a couple more things. So when I said that the city outsourced again, is for right now. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you're being paid right now.
No, I'm not.
Oh, no, that's even nicer. I like that. Well, I would have, I don't know, thank you. So that's what I was talking about, because I believe, sad to say, the last city manager got hired 4 years ago. So I'm pretty sure we got all the paper packages that we can look on and see what we did with him. Not to redo the same thing, but we kind of know what needs to be in the package. We kind of know as if I apply, I know what a job I'm applying for, and if I qualify for the job, and what I'm allowed to do and not to do. I don't think we need anybody telling us or them what they can and should not be doing. I really want to thank you, Bruce, for asking, because where he came from and how we found him, because I think it is all about transparency. And I mean, when I read that was the first time that we even knew that you looked into anything, so we weren't quite, not that we need to know, but we weren't aware that you guys looked into anybody. So that was actually, thank you, I appreciate it, transparency. And then the last question, or maybe not question, I really would love for Richard to have been here. Because we see a name on the paper.
Richardson?
Yeah, Robert, sorry.
Robert. So he'll be at the next meeting, but.
Right.
Yeah.
So it would have been nice to put a face to the name. But anyway, thank you, appreciate it.
Is there anybody else who would like to comment? Once, twice? Okay, public comment is closed. All right, to the council.
We are looking for a motion on this, I assume. I would make motion to staff's recommendation, I guess, to
For the 960-hour?
Engage Mr. Richardson under the conditions that are consistent with the retired city manager business practices.
If we have a motion, Larry said he seconded. Any other comment? Nope. Okay.
Councilmember Burton?
Aye.
Stransky?
Yes.
Alaniz?
Yes.
Almond?
Aye. All right, moving on to department monthly reports.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity to share with us.
You're welcome. Is there an airport
I would
report?
like to talk to you about the thing about the...
Is there a community development report?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to quickly highlight the The city is currently accepting applications through our city housing rehabilitation loan program through November 14th. This is an opportunity for homeowners within the city of Willits to apply for loans at zero interest, ranging from $25,000 to $50,000, to support rehabilitation projects that will prevent deterioration and promote dwelling lifespan. So ideally, these funds are available. This is the second round. We were successful in supporting 5 homeowners in the last round. But ideally, we're looking for those folks who have house conditions that are deteriorating quickly and could use this money to support them living in the home for as long as they need to and maintain their residence here in Willits. So the common ones we see are folks that are looking to put new roofs on their home. Maybe you've had water damage in the past and your toilet's about to fall through the floor. Whatever the situation might be, this is an opportunity to get, again, loans ranging from $25,000 to $50,000 at no interest. This program supported by state funding that we received. As money comes back to the city, it goes back into it, so it is a revolving loan program, and we're accepting applications in the Community Development Department through November 14th. Applications are available online. You can come by the department and we'll give you an application there. We have folks that can help you answer questions, fill out the application. Phil Davidson, our code compliance officer, is running the program, and he can be reached at 459-7153. And again, we're taking applications through November 14th.
Great. Anything else?
Unless council had any questions, that's what I wanted to highlight for tonight.
Council,
Thank you.
any questions for community development? Jesse? Okay, thank you for that. 459-7153 if you want to know more about the information. So moving on to the finance department, Manny?
Just one item, auditor update. So the auditors are currently working on the work papers / financials, and there is probably going to be another ask or something like that of clarification questions and such, but they say they're working on it this week and they should be.
So you're talking 23-24 audit?
23-24 audit.
Okay.
Currently, right now, we are finalizing the last of the cleanup for the 24-25 fiscal year. That is, we have a series of journal entries that we're going over, and just kind of we're down to the final 10. And so and then after that, we start doing our work papers and such in order to be able to get everything going for our last bout of journal entries that will be doing our recognition of capitalized items and things like that.
Okay.
So have you caught up on your bank reconciliations?
We're caught up on our bank reconciliations, but we got to do some background on the claim on cash and everything like that to make sure that everything syncs up.
With the issue with the credit card payments resolved? There was an issue about you had the delay.
Oh, yes. So as for the express bill pay, we have one part of it we have solved, and so we got online and was able to see about $140,000 set aside ready for us to pull down and draw down.
Okay.
So we're going to do that along with recognition of the payments that were done through the system. So the system actually does pull it over, but the problem is that we have to draw it down. That was something that we didn't know about at the time. It was set up previously by someone else. So we are pulling that thread. There's another side to it as well. The processor actually does charge us whenever a card is physically swiped. It appears that that's actually the case. So when a card is actually physically swiped, we do get a 3% charge associated with the action of running a credit card physically within the actual space, not necessarily through the website. So the website, it has a one-time fee and a couple of like very, very, very small processing charges, like $1 or something like that. But as for the actual swiping, it goes through the traditional system, and that actually gets charged at 3%. So we may have to look at
The issue of credit card payments going to a fund that we were
We didn't know about it until just
But
recently.
now that's been solved.
That's been solved.
But now it's just
I
an issue
suspect
of
that-
dealing with the previous.
Yes, and I suspect that there is another one that's just like that through Pathpoint, but I don't know that one for certain yet. So I'm just still pulling on that thread.
And for the public's edification, at the Finance Committee meeting last week, what we're talking about here is it was discovered that when some bills were paid online, the credit card company was sending them to the city of Willits bank account, but it was going into a different fund that we weren't aware of. So the bank and the credit card company were putting money into the account, and through our finance director's investigation found the money. We didn't know how much it was, and it turns out we had approximately $140,000 in this account, but this isn't going to happen again. We're figuring out to make sure that money goes directly into the city's general fund and not into this unknown account, correct? Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
And by unknown account, I just want to clarify that it just meant that we didn't know why it was going there, not that we didn't know the money existed.
Right.
Yeah,
So we didn't gain money, we didn't find a cache full of money. We knew it was there already. It was already accounted for.
It was recording into our ledgers, but as we were going through a reconciliation, we noticed that it wasn't landing in the main account. So we have to draw it down.
The funds match each other. It's not like we found a slush fund of like 140,000. That's not what happened.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it was a fund that wasn't a part of us.
Okay.
We have to draw it down. But we were expecting the money, we just didn't see it landing in the bank.
Right.
So now it's all been fixed.
Thank you. Anything else, Manny?
That's it.
Okay, to the police chief?
Can I ask one more question,
Yes.
Manny? I'd like to know what the fund balance, the total fund balance in the city's coffers are this month.
The total fund balance for the city's coffers. So we have approximately 2.1 million in the main bank account, 5.4 million in the CD investment, about 500,000 in the LAIF account, and 38,000 in the savings account. And as for the payroll account, it is about 240,000.
Okay. And how does that compare then to last month?
We're drawing down on funds from the main account. Last month, we had about 3.4 million in the main account. That's because of the payout to Boudelier and a couple other payouts that have occurred. We were expecting this when I presented it back in June, that we were going to start hitting that crunch right about this time.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, so we are paying attention. There is a possibility, and I'm going to just make a mention of it now, that if we get below approximately 1.5 or 1.4, I may have to make a draw down from the CD investments if we don't have the revolving loan secured by then. So, and it would just be me pulling back about $1 million just to cover us over. I don't want to pull too much out of that because I want to be able to leave that available for CD investments.
The revolving loan for the solar project, is that what you're talking
Yes,
about? Okay.
yes. Because if the solar project starts charging us and anything soon or something like that, then we will need to pull money from that.
To the clerk?
I just want to ask for clarification because I'm totally confused, so I know that some of our viewers might be. I need you to explain that it wasn't a totally separate bank account that the money was going into. It was actually our internal general fund
No.
from the credit card.
It was a totally separate bank account in the credit cards. It was listing in our general ledger, but it was pooling up in a drawdown account, and we're supposed to go in and draw it back down. And so when we didn't see it landing in the main account, we investigated and we found that it's actually landing in this one account that we have to do a regular drawdown from.
And this was the credit card payments.
This is the credit card
They
payments.
weren't showing up in our bank account, but they were showing up on our ledgers.
They were showing up on our ledgers, they were not showing up in our bank account.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. To the chief.
I have nothing to add unless you have any.
Halloween's next Friday, sir.
Yes.
I don't know what the weather's going to be like.
Please drive safe. It's going to be dark. There's lots of little ones wearing costumes, so please drive safe. Drive slow.
But we'll have Willis PD officers on patrol on Halloween. High profile. Thank you.
Correct.
Any questions for the police chief? Okay, moving on to services and facilities.
Nothing specific to add. I just want to thank them, shout out to the crew. They're working hard to get things ready for winter and storms, prepping things. Also a shout out to Kenan O'Shea with the retirement of the assistant city manager. He's taken on a big role at the airport and has done a great job and everything, as you've seen in the last couple of meetings. So everything is running smoothly in those departments. I don't know if you have any other questions, though.
No, I know that. I've seen the park and rec guys working hard.
Yes.
And they're very visible and making a difference.
Yes.
Okay, and anything for utilities?
Nope, unless there's something specific and stuff, yeah.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions for Walter? Is there any public comment on any department monthly reports? Hearing none, public comments closed. City Council announcement, communications, and reports. We'll start with Bruce.
Nothing to, let me back up. Larry, should I, or do you want to?
You do it, then make it.
Water, wastewater ad hoc committee. Man, I should have brought the agenda. Discussed important matters and no decisions were made.
I did not bring it with me.
There was a lot of updates on issues that are going on in water, wastewater, including the Railroad Avenue water line, the Little Lake mobile home. I got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yeah, Larry got it. Thank you. The Little Lake mobile home water connection update. That's the mobile home park north of town by the cul-de-sac that has a failed water system. The skunk train waste line, Railroad Avenue. The skunk train apparently previously had a dump station on Railroad Avenue to unload waste directly into the city sewer, and they're hoping to. They haven't used that in a long time, and they're hoping to reset that. Some leaks and repairs on Bittenbender water line replacement. The steel water main replacement construction update. I forget what
that was the last section of pipe that we were going to put on, finish up that underground project on the bridge here at Broadus.
That's right.
And we have, the permit didn't come in time for Fish and Wildlife to do that. It'll be done later on when the flows are less in late spring, summer.
Lead service line inventory update. We don't have any lead water lines in town that predate any of our water lines, but apparently there is lead in copper pipes in the sweat connections and stuff, and those, I'm surprised that those rise to that level of concern, but it, and then some discussion or bringing me up to speed as much as anything on the water rights issues around the reservoirs and the release requirements. I'm trying to refamiliarize myself with the requirements about when you put the splash boards up, what the cubic feet per second discharge requirement is, and some of the vagaries of our permit that suggest that the reservoirs are simply there to keep the streams flowing in the wintertime, summertime, and if you don't get some adjustment to some of those flow requirements, you don't essentially have a reservoir. So anyways, it was helpful.
Okay.
No.
Or anything?
I have transportation tomorrow at 3:30.
MTA. Okay.
And thank you, Bruce, for doing that.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Yes, on the 29th, next Wednesday, there's a Mendocino Transit Authority MTA meeting at 1:30. I'll be attending. You can also go to the MTA website and find their agenda and a web link if you would like to make comments or participate. Next Monday, a couple Mondays from now, November the 3rd, is our IMCOG meeting, and I plan on attending in person. So if you would like to participate through Zoom, you can go to the IMCOG website and you will easily find the for agenda items, and you can find the link to attend that meeting if you can't make it in person. We did have an ad hoc finance committee meeting back in October the 15th, and we discussed some of the Springbrook issues, and we're looking forward to getting better and more complete financial reports so we can actually use our time wisely. But if you're interested in learning more details about some of the stuff we discussed here, I suggest that you make plans to attend our finance committee meeting, which is held the third
The
Wednesday.
19th, and the time has changed for next month.
That's right.
It's at 4 o'clock PM, so on November 19th here, 4 PM is the next finance committee meeting.
Yes, November 19th at 4.
Anything else?
No, sir.
And other than the finance committee, that was it. So there's the good and welfare, and we've reported out for closed session, so this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for sticking around.
Thank you.